I Love Mortgage Brokering, episode 66.
The most inspiring stories from today's most successful mortgage brokers. Join your host, Scott Peckford, on I Love Mortgage Brokering.
Hi, Broker Nation. I am thrilled to introduce our guest today, Zach Silverman. He's a mortgage broker with Silverman Mortgage Group. He's part of the Verico Network. He's been a broker for 11 years and is based out of Langley, BC. If you haven't checked out his website, it's absolutely sweet. You got to check it out. And I'm stoked for this interview today. Zach, you ready to rock?
I'm ready.
Awesome. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've been a mortgage broker for 11 years, he said. Personally, I'm married. I've got a 5-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter, which is a blast. As a typical entrepreneur, I didn't love school growing up. I didn't do very well. I did just enough to get through it. Decided out of high school, instead of going to college, I was going to skip that step and move down to the States and try and make it as a pro golfer. So I did that for a couple of years until I decided I probably wasn't good enough to make a living out of it. Came home with my tail between my legs, looking for what was next. So I grew up in my family background. My dad was a real estate developer, so I had the real estate background. And at a family function, actually, my sister's brother-in-law, who's Doug Neufeld in Langley, he's owns a brokerage, and he mentioned to me, why don't you look at mortgage brokering? So that's kind of how it started. I went and shadowed him, and before, as I was getting licensed, I kind of worked with him and worked on some of his files, and he kind of taught me the business a little bit. I then, I got licensed in 2004, and then I went to work after working with Doug for a little while, I had an opportunity with Origin. So they're now Origin DLC. Went and worked with them when they started as a company. Worked with them for several years, incorporated in Silverman Mortgage Group in November of 2008. Still partnered with Origin, and since have just moved over to the Verico Network, working with Dreyer Group. So that's as of January.
Right. And so I was going to, something you'd said about the pro golfer thing. So you went down, so when you do go to the mortgage golf stuff, the events?
I go to some of them. I've been to some of them in the last couple of years. Yeah.
Do you usually win? Because if you do, I want to be on your team next time.
We don't usually win because there's always Larry Bond from First Net always stacks his team. First of all,
that's awesome.
There's always a couple of stacked teams, but we always have a good time.
I know a guy actually who's a really good golfer who was a scratch golfer, maybe a couple above. He'd be good. No, I wouldn't be good on your team, but he would be good on your team. So if you wanted to stack a team one year, let me know and I'll hook you up. He's also a broker.
There's a lot of good brokers that are golfers. A lot of really good golfers.
It's just hard to fit in the time. That's for me. It's what I find right now.
Yeah, you know what? It is. But I mean, I've structured my business and really drawn out a clear picture of what I wanted to see. And I've built it into my business. I'm in a Remax office in Langley here in-house, and we basically do a weekly regular game. We try and get out usually Wednesdays early morning. And so I enjoy it. I love it. And it's with my referral partners always. I very rarely play golf with buddies, and with the 2 young kids, I rarely get out on the weekend. So it's if you make time for it and you design your life and your business around it, it's not bad.
That's awesome advice for anybody out there listening who's like, hey man, how do I fit golf into make it part of your business and do it with referral partners, and don't go with mortgage brokers. And no offense to your friends, but go with your realtor partners. Okay, so before we dive into your story, I'd like to ask about a success quote that's had an impact on your life or business. I love how quotes are portable, they're memorable, and you can kind of go back to them again and again. So can you share a quote that's really had an impact on you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any that stuck with me for a long time. So when I was thinking about it, I went and looked. I know I've listened to a bunch of your interviews, so I know there's a lot of Darren Hardy's fans, and I've read his books several times, Compound Effect, as well as the Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster, and he's got a ton of great quotes. So the one that kind of stuck out to me was, "You make your choices, and then your choices make you."
Mm-hmm. That's really good. And so how have you applied that, like recently in your life or business?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a constant struggle. So I'm a true believer that we're in complete control of our success and how our life is pans out. So I don't think that's chance or luck. I think it's all the little things that we do on an everyday basis add up to what your life's going to be like. So, and that's what that quote means to me. That's how it impacts me. And so it's just a constant. Some days get away from me. I look back and I could say to myself, I wish I was just on the golf course all day because I was putting out fires and I didn't actually get anything done. Mm-hmm. But you wake up the next day and you can kind of hit the restart button and you realize, listen, I've got to start over. Every decision I make today is going to impact my future. So I think that it's powerful if you can keep reminding yourself of those things. Every little decision you make, whether you're trying to lose weight or be successful business or play good golf or whatever it may be. It's all the choices leading up to what you're doing is what's going to make the impact in the long run.
So give me an example of a choice that you avoid making on a daily basis in order to make sure that you're actually getting where you want to go.
A big one for me is time blocking. I'm the typical entrepreneur, kind of ADD-ish type person where I can get working on 5 different things and all of a sudden I'm spinning around in circles and nothing's getting done. So I've made a real conscious effort. Again, it's still a struggle, but to have 3 time blocks a day. So I'm putting, for me, a lot of people say an hour and a half time blocks. I can't do that. It's too long for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and put 45 minutes and work on a project, whatever that project is, whether it's calling past clients, whether it's tweaking sales process, branding, website, whatever it may be. If you can shut everything else off, shut your phone off, there's not, and everyone, I've talked to different people about this and people are like, well, what if somebody calls in? What if somebody needs something? There's never a time that anybody needs something within 45 minutes or an hour or an hour and a half. It can wait. So I think it's more valuable to have those time blocks and have those productive times that you can get whatever you need to get done that are actually the things that are important to you. Because for me, if I don't have those time blocks, everything seems important. It seems if somebody calling me and wants to ask a question, that's the most important thing. But in the grand scheme of things, is it?
Mm-hmm. And so as a guy who works in a real estate office with lots of realtors, how do you time block? What's your advice on time blocking when you can have interruptions? So somebody could just walk by and say, hey, so how do you manage that?
It's a challenge. It's an ongoing challenge. So if I really need to do something, I often will leave the office. I'll just go down, I'll walk across to Starbucks and work there for 45 minutes and come back.
Right.
If you're in the office, I share an office with a realtor. And if him and I are in the office, I'm in a corner office. Everybody's walking by and everyone's popping in to say hi, whether it's just socializing or asking a question or whatever it may be. It's hard. So if I really want to make sure that nothing distracts me, I get out of the office.
You got to remove yourself from the distractions.
Yeah.
Right. That's good. So another thing I've noticed talking to successful brokers and entrepreneurs is that failure happens, but it's not fatal. And looking back, there's always a lesson. So can you share an example of something that you failed at and then the lesson that you took from it when you look back on it?
Oh man, I failed at a lot of stuff. As I'm sure every successful person has failed at a ton of stuff. So the first thing that came to my mind was I want to make everything perfect. I want to, whether it's my CRM, my website, the brand, putting new things in place. I've failed many times over and over, just trying to tweak it and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it over and over until it just never launches.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very conscious about it now that just get something out and just ship it. Like get it in the market. It's the only way you're going to know if it's going to work or not, and test it. But that's probably my biggest thing that came to my mind at first is just get it out there. So that's kind of the first thing that hit me. Right.
So if you have a perfectionist nature, then you tend to want to have it absolutely polished before you get it ready. So what's something recently that you let yourself resist your perfectionist tendencies and said, okay, it's not perfect, but I want to get it started and I can adjust? Can you think of something you've done that with recently?
Yeah, we're just changing our CRM. And so it's the perfect timing. And it's a constant struggle that I'm ready to put it into the market, and I want to tweak it and change the workflows and this and that. And so I've basically just said, in this case, I've basically taken my hands off because I couldn't physically do it myself, where I just said, I've got to get a consultant. He's going to do it all for me and he's going to ship it and we'll just be done with it. So that's kind of my most recent one where I realized that if I was doing it, I would hold on to it, and it would be forever before I actually shipped it. So that's something I just took action on.
So in you outsourced it to make sure that it happened.
Yeah.
And it actually ties right into my next question, which is about processes. And I find successful brokers have processes in sales as well as administrative processes. So on the administrative side, it sounds like the CRM thing is something you've been adjusting. So can you share some of the parts of what you're looking at doing, and maybe what company you're using to automate that CRM stuff?
Yeah, we've used, in the past, we've used Salesforce, and it's just a massive machine that can do anything you want it to. It's a challenge to
It's very big.
It's huge. And so we did that for a while, and it's expensive and it's big. I've done a ton of research, and I'm currently just getting Zoho CRM going. Mm-hmm. So I did a bunch of research. Zoho is it's something that's been more affordable than Salesforce, but yet it does basically everything that I would ever need it to do that Salesforce did. It does all my workflows. It has all the templates, has all the email marketing any of that type of stuff that you can do. And I think that the CRM is so huge, and it's such a challenge talking to people and listening to people in the industry, like what everyone's using. And it seems like one of the biggest pain points that we have. And I probably bring it up a lot because I'm in the middle of doing it right now.
Mm-hmm. It's pain for you right now.
It's a pain for me right now. So, I mean, what we do is I think I was listening to Nick Lecourier's interview that you did. He was saying that everything he does is based on workflows, and it's bulletproof. And I think that's the only way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we've done in the past, and we're just continuing to tweak it. We're moving it over to a different system, so everything will be done on workflows, and that way we can measure everything. We can manage our salespeople. We can do everything we need to do, and it's all happening, and you can see it right in front of you.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Actually, do you know who Gord McCallum is?
Yeah.
So Gord has been using Zoho for years, so maybe if you know him, you can always ping him and share some.
Oh, perfect.
He'd probably be open to sharing some stuff with you. So tell him I sent you. One of my other friends just recently, he's got a company that's not in brokering, but he's set up on Salesforce. And so he has a program that attaches Salesforce. This is how robust it is, to a vending machine in his office. And when his staff do like something good, or they can actually ping the vending machine to pop out a beer or a soda or whatever right from Salesforce by like tagging it. How crazy is that?
Wow.
Hey? So
that's cool. What I had thought of that I was going to bring up, so I'll bring it up now because that's a cool thing. And I love these. Our world is so connected now. There's so many different companies that get into cool apps and services and stuff like that. That when you had this question, I was thinking about it. One of the challenges that I have in the office and a process that I've kind of tweaked and is working really cool for me right now is we get a ton of leads from realtors in the office, and it's always a juggling act. What do you do for them? I mean, I don't think you need to go over the top, but you need a token to say thank you. But it needs, for us, it needs to be engaging, it needs to be fun, and they need to see value in it. I've actually just switched over, so every referral we get, we use this app called Gusto, Guusto. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I haven't.
Check it out. It's really cool. I think it's iPhone and Android. And basically what you can do is it's in Canada, and it's for restaurant establishments, and you can basically gift whatever you want. You can gift them a drink and put a dollar limit on it. You can gift them a bottle of wine, a dessert, an appetizer, a meal, anything like that. And you can do it by text or email. I text it every time, and I've just been using it for about 3 weeks now, and the people are blown away. And
okay, I'm gonna cut this part out of the interview. No, I'm just kidding. I won't. This is so good. I'm like, okay, I won't cut it out because I don't do that. But I do. It's really awesome. Cool. I'm looking it up right now. I love it.
On it through Twitter or something like that, and we've been using it, and just the feedback has been awesome with clients too. I mean, yesterday we had a client that was closing, and the lawyer actually messed up a little bit and didn't include the CMHC premium in the mortgage, so thought they had to pay it up front. So she thought she had to pay an extra $12,000, I think, on this one. So not our fault at all, but we want the experience to be great with everybody. So we talked her through it, got it all sorted out, no issues, and then I just sent her a drink on Gusto and said, you're probably going to need this thing. She was blown away. She thought it was the coolest.
Dude, this is awesome. We could stop right here. Okay, anybody listening, if awesome. That's good stuff. I think that's fantastic. So I'm glad that I was digging there because that didn't come up naturally. It just kind of came up because we were talking about something else about the vending machine. Okay, so say I'm going to switch to sales process. So I noticed that successful brokers have sales processes and systems. They don't just show up and hope for the best, but they also are willing to adjust them. So can you share an example of something that in your sales process that maybe wasn't working as well as you'd like, an adjustment you made?
Yeah, our sales process, one of our biggest challenges in our structure of our team and how we're doing is I think for the most part, I don't know about the other brokers out there, once you've got a live deal and you've got a client in the door, I think that the sales process and the workflow is, everyone's got their own way of doing it, but I think it's fairly simple. The leads and how to manage them and make sure they feel cared about and that you stay on top of them, because so often, we all know that you talk to somebody up front and then you don't get a response right away. And what do you do with these people? Before having proper systems in place, we would have stuff going out to them automatically, but they weren't top of mind. Mm-hmm. So we didn't have automatic tasks firing to make sure that there was a safety net there. Mm-hmm. So we made in the last year or so, we've had just simple different tools to make sure that there's always a next action for every single lead. So, and we've done it. What's worked for us is we've done it somewhat manual. So it's not always automatic. It's not always like 15 days and then 30 days and then 45. If you talk to somebody, you just they say, yeah, I'm going away or I'm doing this, and you just set that task for when they come back, and then you can finish where you left off on the last conversation. And people feel like I'm not just a number at the bank. These people know me. They care about me. They're on top of things. So that's been huge for us because, again, it's just because I listened to Nick recently, so it's fresh, and he talks about revenue leakage, and that's to Greg Williamson, and I work with Greg as well. And I think there's huge revenue leakage on the front end with leads that just fall through the door, and people say, "Oh, I never called me back," and he never called me back. It's been a week or 2 weeks. He's moved on. He's gone to the bank or whatever. We've had so many times where we followed up with people and just being consistent on it, and then 2 months later they come back to us apologizing that they've been busy or they've been that, but they want to move forward now.
Right? Yeah, so, it's not their priority every day. It's their life happens, and then this goes on the back burner till it becomes a priority, and then. Yes, that's good advice. Actually, I haven't listened to Nick's in a while. You've inspired me to jump back into it and listen.
There's a lot of good nuggets in there.
He did it really well last year. I saw in the CMP top 75. He was I think he was over the 100 million mark, if I recall correctly. So you got to listen to a guy who's writing that much business.
Absolutely.
So another area that I've noticed talking to brokers is this idea of diversifying income, cross-selling other products like insurance. And so I just wanted to get your take on it. And is it something you're working on in the next year or not?
Yeah, we haven't done a ton of it. I mean, I do see a ton of value, especially moving forward with where our industry is going in the ancillary products and stuff like that. One small thing that actually adds up, depending on how much volume and how many deals you're doing. But when we moved over to Dreyer Group and aligned with them, they've got a company, and I don't know how many people are doing it. We never did it, but at Origin, but they've got property insurance. So it's a company that you basically just, when you're going, every approval document we go through with clients, every signing appointment, it's just another document in there that they just fill out if they haven't got their property insurance. We just get them to sign a form that allows brokers to call them, and we get paid referral fees for it. And it's not a huge amount of money. I think it's $150 for everyone for a house, $100 for a townhouse, $50 for a condo, something like that. But it adds up. So ancillary products like that, I think are moving forward are going to add a lot of value, a lot to the bottom line. I have been hearing more and more about people going over, being more involved with CFF and buying franchises. And I haven't looked into it, and I don't know a heck of a lot about it, but I do see a ton of value in being able to offer that unsecured line and the RSPs and that sort of thing. But to be honest, I haven't done a ton of research on that at this point.
Right. I had just recently interviewed Gord, and it was a great, and so I've had lots of discussions with him about it. I think there's definitely, there's some people it's going to work for, some people won't work for everybody, but if you embrace it and you can find ways to leverage it, it can definitely be a benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes along with just being full service. And as long as it's, again, I don't know anything about it, but as long as it's in the client's best interest and you can offer it to them, and the more you can wrap your arms around that client and add value to them, I think that's a win-win.
So I'm going to move to the rapid fire questions. You can answer these with shorter answers if you like. So what is the number one thing holding back most mortgage brokers from being successful?
Consistency. I think consistency and commitment to whatever their dreams and their plans and their goals are. I think that we all just kind of get going and just wake up every day and do whatever comes your way. And we don't really paint that picture of what do we see, where do we want to be in 3 years, and how can we get there? And then once you've got that plan, just consistency.
Right. What one thing or habit has made you successful?
Constantly improving myself, constantly looking to get better as a person, not just a broker. It's a process, but I mean, I do this through reading a lot. I take a lot of entrepreneurial courses, through meditation, through all that type of stuff. Having a coach is huge for me.
Right. And so you mentioned you have a coach for your mortgage business. How long have you had a coach?
I've had I was part of an entrepreneurial program called the Strategic Coach.
I did that one.
Mortgages. Did you?
Yeah. And I did it in Santa Monica. I'm like, it's in Santa Monica? Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. Mine was in Chicago, and it was great. I mean, it just got a little, I'm not doing it now just because it got a little hectic with when kids were born and they were young, and going to Chicago every quarter kind of took away from doing anything else. But yeah, being a part of something where you're constantly growing, constantly trying to become a better person, I think is always going to add value to your business and to your life.
That's good. And so do you have an internet resource or software program you use to make your business more successful? You said Gusto. Is there another one?
We use Google Apps for everything. So Gmail, calendar, and everything, syncs everything. Zoho is going to be a big one. We use MailChimp for all our email marketing right now. A cool one is that we use for all of our email tracking, which I think is huge, and it's worked several times. Is Sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but all of those, there's so many little things that we use that we integrate with how we can become better brokers.
What does Sidekick do?
Sidekick basically it's a Chrome extension that I use it on, and I have it on my phone. But it basically tags every email you send out, so you can see, pops up on your screen, and if you go into the email, you can see if the person's read it, how much it tracks the email, when they read it, if they've read it, where they've read it. Oftentimes, I'll be trying to follow up with leads, or my team will be, and we'll see that they've just read it, and we'll just quickly reach out to them or flip them a quick note, just thinking about you. And if you have any questions at this time, and when they're thinking about it and they get a message from you, they're like, "This is crazy." You know what I mean? So
right. Yeah. That's good.
There's value in that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Being top of mind at the right time. And if you could recommend a book for our listeners, what would it be?
I'll give you two. I think I really like Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy, and The One Thing by Gary Keller. Yeah,
that's a great book. I've just been reading that one in the last little bit. Where do you think our industry's headed? Where's the opportunity?
The opportunity, I think our industry is headed, as many people have said before, it's going two directions. You're either going to be full service. We try and we very in touch with the community, so we do lots in the community. We give back. We engage our realtors in giving back to our community. So we're full service, local, community driven. We don't get shopped on rates a ton at this point. I mean, I'm sure that's going to become more and more of a challenge as we move forward. So I think you either got to go that route and be super local, have a brand that everyone knows, be unique, stand out, do something different somehow. Mm-hmm. Or the online model, which is a great model. The discounted rates. It's a great model for those that have built the infrastructure to do it. I just don't think most people have that infrastructure to do that. Mm-hmm. And so if you're caught in the middle, I think it's going to be tough moving forward.
Right. I love how Callum Ross puts it. You're in the price business or the advice business, and you kind of have to pick one.
Yeah, that's cool. I never heard that.
So it's my last question. One of my favorites, the DeLorean. Remember the movie Back to the Future?
Yeah.
So there's the car, you jump in, travel in time. So if I could put you into the DeLorean and send you back 11 years, your first day as a broker, and you could give yourself 3 pieces of advice so that your business will be bigger and better today, what would you tell yourself?
I would have become way more crystal clear on what I wanted out of my life and my business earlier on. So as I said before, I kind of jumped in and just did whatever I thought of moving forward, tried to hustle and every day just kind of put one foot ahead of the other, which worked. But I think the clearer you can be about what you want in life, the more you can design that life and then reverse engineer that to what do I have to do today? How many people do I have to talk to? The more you can be clear on that is, I wish I did that sooner. Mm-hmm. The other one, keep it simple and just execute. I think I make things way too complicated. And then just the things that I'm executing, just monitor and continue to tweak what's working and what's not working, and just continue to monitor that. Mm-hmm. If you do those things, and you're constantly improving, and you're going to be successful.
So have a vision for what you want. Keep it simple, execute and keep it simple. You'd say that would be the 3 things that you'd tell yourself?
Keep it simple and execute. And the last one, just monitor what you're doing.
Monitor, right.
What's working, what's not.
Well, Zach, I really appreciate your time today. How can people find you online?
Silvermanmortgage.com or Zach@silvermanmortgage.com.
And are you guys hiring at all?
Internally, we are always looking for the right people. So internally, we're not hiring sub-brokers right now.
Okay. And for anybody listening to this, they can get notes, links to everything that we talked about at ilovemortgagebrokering.com. Zach, I appreciate your time, man, and I hope you absolutely crush the rest of your year.
Thanks so much, Scott. I appreciate the opportunity.
The most inspiring stories from today's most successful mortgage brokers. Join your host, Scott Peckford, on I Love Mortgage Brokering.
Hey, Broker Nation, Scott Peckford here. Have you joined our VIP club for mortgage brokers yet? If not, you're missing out. We share exclusive content not available on the web or the show. We share scripts, step-by-step guides, and other insider tips to help you save time and make you more money. I can't tell you how many times after I turn off the recorder, a guest starts sharing some awesome advice or a script or a tip, and I take the best of this and share it with my VIPs. If you want to get on the list, visit ilovemortgagebrokering.com/VIP. That's ilovemortgagebrokering.com/VIP. Oh, and one other thing. Since this is exclusively for mortgage brokers, there is a skill testing question. Good luck, and I hope you continue to rock your mortgage biz.